Okay, everybody, welcome to the Michigan versus Nebraska preview. The all-time series between these two teams is 6-4-1 in Michigan's favor. Last season, Michigan won 32-29. This year, Nebraska is 3-6, and Michigan is number 3 in the college football playoff at 9-0. It's on at 3:30 on ABC. I'm going to start with the player stats and then team stats and prediction. I'm just going to go through all of that for you right here and now. Quarterback, they have Casey Thompson. He is 63% for 2,023 yards, which is good for 9 yards per attempt. He has 12 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions and 19 sacks. Michigan's defensive line likes to see that. J.J. McCarthy, on the other hand, is 71%, and he only has 1,615 yards, but that's at 8.2 yards per attempt, and he has 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and only been sacked 6 times. At running back, Nebraska has one good one. Anthony Grant has 177 attempts for 858 yards, which is good for 4.8 yards per carry. He has 6 touchdowns. Their second leading rusher is Gabe Irving Jr., who has 15 attempts for 82 yards and 5.5 yards per carry, no touchdowns. Let's just stick with Nebraska here, and then I'll switch over to Michigan. At wide receiver, Trey Palmer leads the way, 53 receptions for 819 yards, 15.5 per reception, and 5 touchdowns. Marcus Washington, 24 receptions for 367 yards, 15.3 yards per reception, and 0 touchdowns. Home run hitters, I guess. Tight end Travis Vokalek is number 3 in the receiving department. He has 18 receptions, 220 yards, 12.2 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns. And Oliver Martin, 9 receptions for 180 yards, 20 yards per reception, and 1 touchdown. He is a former Michigan Wolverine, if you guys remember. Defensively, Nebraska has 3 defensive backs that lead their team in tackles. Their top 3 tacklers are defensive backs. I don't know if that bodes well for them or if they're just playing up at the line of scrimmage so much. I think that's a good sign for Michigan. Miles Farmer has 62 tackles and he has 1 interception. Marquise Buford Jr. has 54 tackles and he leads the team with 2 interceptions. And defensive back Isaac Gifford has 52 tackles and he has 1 sack. Their sack leaders are Garrett Nelson with 4.5 and O'Shawn Mathis with 2.5. Michigan, on the other side, has Corum, who has 199 attempts now, 1,187 yards, and 6 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns. Edwards backs him up, 68 carries, 458 yards per game for the season, 6.7 yards per carry, 6.7, and he receives both of these guys receive the ball out of the backfield nicely. 4 touchdowns for Edwards rushing. Bell is the leading receiver with 41 catches and 525 yards, 12.8 per reception, 1 touchdown. Schoonmaker, the tight end, 30 receptions for 315 yards, 10.5 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns. Cornelius Johnson has 4 touchdowns, 19 catches, 250 yards, 13.2 yards per reception. Roman Wilson was hurt last week and he was held out of the game, but he has 17 receptions on the season, 250 yards, 14.7 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns. On the defense, I'm just going to say Colson leads the team in tackles at 61, but it doesn't say, I mean, this team, I'll say it again. This team is so complete that everything's spread out. No one's going to dominate in any stat for Michigan's defense. It's just that good. They only get 3 downs per drive. They force 3 and out so much. And the offense keeps them off the field so much. But Junior Colson has 61 tackles and a sack. Mike Morris leads the team with 7 sacks. 8 others have 1.5 sack at least. At least. And one of those is Mike Barrett, who has 2.5 sacks and has 2 interceptions, both in the last game, 1 for a touchdown. Rod Moore leads the team with 3 interceptions. So that's the stats I can give you for the individual players. Now, team stats. Points per game. Nebraska is scoring 26 points per game. That's rounded up. Everything's rounded up. 85th in the nation. Yards per game, 387. That's 73rd in the nation. 29 points given up defensively. That's 91st. And 441 yards. Almost what Michigan's averaging offensively is what Nebraska is giving up. That's 114th in the nation. That's not a good sign. They're giving up more yards and points than they are scoring. Michigan, on the other hand, 42 points per game. That's 5th in the nation. Yards per game, 466. That's 22nd in the nation. And that is a balanced 466, though. 216 passing, 250 rushing. Defensive points per game, 12. That's 3rd in the nation. And defensive yards per game, 242. That's 2nd in the nation. So it's going to be a bloodbath, in my opinion. Nebraska's last opponent was Minnesota, and they only mustered 13 points versus them, gave up 20. They've lost 3 straight games. Mickey Joseph, as the interim head coach, is 2-4. So it wasn't Frost's fault. Mickey can't do it either, I guess. Michigan, on the other hand, their last opponent was Rutgers, and we won 52-17. It was our 9th straight win. Jim Harbaugh is 21-2 so far over last season and this season. It's time for the prediction, and I think Michigan dominates this game again. There's not much else I can say. I don't know how they're going to move the ball, except for I think they can get some chunk yards, and watch out for Oliver Martin. They might have been saving him for this game. But Michigan dominates. I think 56-13 is my prediction for this game. And stay tuned I'm going to be gone on a drywall job that has no TV, no internet access at all. It's in a remote location in Hesperia, Michigan. And so I'm going to do my Ohio State preview hopefully tomorrow. I'm hoping that I can do a Illinois preview next week, but I want to get the Ohio State one out now. And other than that, Michigan women's basketball is at halftime, and they're destroying some nobody. Michigan hockey is up this weekend. And Michigan men's basketball looks pretty good. Jet Howard is the real deal. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Remember to like the video, share, subscribe, and go blue.